Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to day 9 of the Modiragatsi competition. Today was the last day that we covered new topics. Tomorrow you will start working on, or even tonight you can start working on your final submission. I will also cover the expectations that we have in terms of the final submissions, both in terms of the report and of the video pitch this evening. So if you have any questions in terms of those two final submissions that should be submitted by Sunday, tonight is the night to listen up really well. We have one question in terms of the value proposition canvas exercise that you had to do today. The example that I gave you, the video that I gave you, it had on the right-hand side a circle giving you the typical customer profile with some gains, customer jobs and pains that needs to be fulfilled. And on the left-hand side, it had gain creators, pain relievers, or products and services that you can create to solve the customer profile. So the three, in the value proposition canvas that I gave you, I used specific words that is related to product development, where I said what experiences, features, and benefits you could create through your product. But if you want to stick to the three categories, gain creators, pain relievers, products, and services, you can replace those words in the canvas. But I thought that if I create the product in a product-centric way, that you can definitely think in terms of your product that you are developing, what experience, user experience, remember you covered that in one of the earlier topics. So what experience can you create through your product to create some or to alleviate some of those customer pains? Which features could you add to specifically attract the customer, and then which benefits will this hold for your customer? So that's the three areas in a product-centric way that we look at the value proposition canvas. But if you want to stick to the example and you have perhaps a service-related idea that you have submitted, you can change those three words in the canvas to products and services, pain relievers, and gain creators, if that's easier for you. Okay, so for the formal start to what you should be focusing on next, let's look at the Modiragatsi competition and what you've accomplished over the past 2 weeks. So before I move into the content, I would really like to thank our sponsors once again, our headline sponsor, the SHEETA, the Manufacturing, Engineering and Related Services, SETA, and then our content sponsors, Siemens, Mendix, Kish, and the NWU Business School for the work that they have done for us. But what did you as our participants do and accomplish in just 9 days? I think if you look back at what you've done and the tremendous amount of work that you have completed over these 2 weeks, you can really feel very proud of yourself. So in just 9 days, you gained new skills in 6 key areas that are really important to anyone wanting to develop a product and bring it to market. Firstly, you spend some time learning about the techniques associated with design thinking, and you also learn to apply to your own product. Then we moved on to computational thinking, and you learned how to implement those logics problem-solving skills to solving a puzzle. Then we moved on to user experience design, and you really had to reflect on all of the products that you interact with on a daily basis, whether they are software or hardware, something like your toaster or microwave oven, or the doors you enter and exit through. You had to really evaluate the world around you and think about whether the designers of those products implemented a good or bad user experience design. And then you had to reflect on how you could improve that experience for your own potential customers. Then we briefly looked at mobile app development, and I really wish I could give you a more thorough introduction to that. But because so many of our learners were joining us from just a cell phone and couldn't really implement the mobile app development tools on a computer, I gave you a brief introduction to what goes into the first few steps of mobile app development up to the space where you really now need a software engineer to take this idea further and to implement it. And then yesterday, Kish IP helped us understand intellectual property and how to protect it. And the main reason why I included that in the curriculum was that so that you realize that you have important ideas and that you should not share your ideas with just anyone. I had some questions yesterday evening whether your ideas are safe with us. Yes, your ideas are safe with us. We will not steal it. We will not transfer it. We will not share the information with anyone who has not signed a non-disclosure agreement. So it was mainly for your own protection. So many times entrepreneurs or inventors really get excited about the new technology they're creating and they want to share it with the world and tell everyone what they're doing. And then they lose their own intellectual property as a result. So that is why we created that awareness with you. And then today we use the value proposition canvas and the business model canvas to create the story that you will be using to pitching your business idea. So I hope that these new skills and knowledge will help you grow and learn, and that you also enjoyed this experience of being part of the Modiragatsi competition, the Modiragatsi family, the NWU Faculty of Engineering family, so that after today you will remain friends, and I hope some lifelong friendships might even have started. And that now that you know that there are other like-minded youth in our country, that you will feel more positive about the change that you can bring. And remember that even though there are many times that the people around us are really trying to break our speed and make us negative about the country and our opportunities, we can create our own opportunities and we can make this world a better place. So regardless of who the ultimate winners of the competition will be that will travel to the USA or to Europe, we still need to determine the final destination. We really hope that you will all feel like winners because you all learned a lot. And I know you can change the world for the better. And long after our competition, you will be engaged citizens. And that means that you will be able to see the problems in your own community. And I think by identifying those problems in your own community and finding ways to actually do something about those problems, we will create the future together through your ideas and imagination. I'm already very excited about the future if you guys are part of the future. I'm going the wrong way now. Okay, so in terms of your final submission, like I said, you can start this evening already. The information regarding the report is already uploaded. I'm currently busy analyzing the last pages of the pitch. and then that will also be up later this evening. Tomorrow you will prepare your final entry, and before Sunday evening, the 25th of July at 5 to 12 in the evening, you can submit your final entry on Ifundi, and that will then be judged by a panel of experts. And what are these two final submissions that you need to make? It is a 5-minute video using the guidelines that I will give you just now in this presentation, and a short solution plan or a short report, project report, using the template that I've also provided on the Ifundi page. And remember that the judges will base their decision on 4 key criteria. Firstly, how inspirational and clever this new idea of you is. Then what the potential impact of that idea is to make a change in the world. Then through your presentation, we will be able to see your passion for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and we will also be influenced by your communication skills. So it's really important that you prepare well when you're making the video and that you create the report with sufficient care. Let's first look at the report. You will find on the Ifundi page that I've included a template for the report under the My Final Submission. You will see that it is a short 3-page template, and you just need to complete the little paragraphs in between. So firstly, on the front page, you will provide the following information: a project title that will go into this top suite over there, then your team, the names of your team members, and the name of your school. And then finally, the date of submission. I filled in the 25th of July 2021. If you submit before then, please just change that date. The first section that you will need to complete is team information. This table that I provided in the report template, please complete all of the different areas in the table. If you have a clear team leader, please indicate that in the top row. But if you don't have a clear team leader, just change this team leader and additional team members to team member 1 and team member 2. Remember your name and surname and make sure that you spell it correctly, since we will be using this information in communicating the finalists of the list. In the third column, you will include a head and shoulder photograph of each of the team members. But if you do not have a photograph, for instance, of your teacher, just leave that that block blank if you don't have anyone. And if you're just a team of 1, you can just simply delete the second row. Then remember your school name and also include the town or city in which your school is situated. The reason why is that sometimes there's more than one school in the country that uses the same name, and we want to be sure to congratulate the correct school when we win it. Then select your proper project category, repeat your project title as it is written on the front page, and then in the solution summary, summarize your idea in 2 to 4 sentences. The next 2 questions actually deals with what you learned during the training program that we just completed. So firstly, I want you to reflect on the Modiragatsi program and tell us as a whole, what did you learn? And why do you think what you learned will matter, and how you will apply these skills in future projects? In section 3, please point out one lesson that you will always remember after completing this program. It is important that you do not just go through the motions, but actually reflect on what you've learned by being part of this training program. The next 4 questions will actually deal with the problem that you are addressing. So you will firstly complete the section on the problem statement. So tell us, what is the problem that you are solving in terms of motivation? Tell us why it is important to solve this problem. In customer segments, tell us who will benefit from you solving this problem and describe your typical user or customer. If it is a product aimed at teenagers that live in remote areas, tell us what the typical characteristics of a teenager living in a rural area would be. Or if this was made for the elderly living in big cities, please tell us what you regard as typical characteristics of that elderly person. The reason why this is important is that the judges will understand better what the context is that you design your solution in. Then in section 7, you will look at your proposed solution. You will tell us what your solution is, what it looks like, and how it functions. So you will see that a lot of this information you actually created after your design thinking exercise already. So you completed most of this last week already. So now you can maybe use that as a basis and just elaborate a bit on this. The final section is about taking your idea to market. And there you have to use the lessons that you've learned today to actually reflect on the solution in the context of taking it to market, selling it to someone. So firstly, you'll be looking at competitors. Are there any existing solutions to the problem? Who are your competitors in the market, and what are their solutions to the same problem? Then in terms of your value proposition, you will indicate how your solution to the problem is different from that of your competitors in the market. Then you will look at channels to gain some market access. So how will your customers learn about your solution? Will they become aware? So how will they be trained? So they learn about your solution. So how will you create awareness about this? How will you advertise this to your typical customers to entice them to become customers? Then in section 11, you'll look at the revenue stream. So in which ways can your idea actually generate some money? And then in terms of key resources, what are all of the things, services, people, access, etc., that you will need to make your solution a reality? In section 13, the key activities, describe which activities you need to perform really well to make this business model work. And finally, who can help you realize this business model? So who do you need to partner with to help you get this into the market? Since you will most definitely not own all of the resources or perform all of the key activities to make your business model work. So as you can clearly see, these are the results of today's How to Pitch Your Business exercise. Then we get to the video pitch. Now, firstly, I have created a template on Canva for you that you can use, and I will provide the link to the template on a film. But you are not forced to use this template. In fact, you are not even forced to use any slides at all. It is completely up to you whether you would like to use slides as a visual aid when pitching your idea. You can pitch with or without slides, and with my template or yours. It is just some tools that I make available to you so that you can hit the ground running. In terms of what should be covered in the pitch is firstly, again, the problem that you're solving and why it is important to address it, your solution to the problem. Then we will look at who your customers will be and how you think you can reach the market. So what is your go-to-market plan? Then what are the other existing solutions and how do you offer? Competitive analysis. Then we want to know who your team is and what each of you adds to your product development and why you're a good team. And then finally, end with a sensible conclusion. To end the video summarizing the solution and why it is a great idea. So take whatever you start off with in the introduction and complete the circle in the end with a sensible conclusion. Otherwise, you end up at your final slide and say, well, yes, that's me. And that's it for me. So don't end with useless words like that. Really end with a bang so that after your presentation, those words linger and be remembered. General things that I suggest you remember about a video pitch. We don't expect you to be film stars, and I must admit I've spent a little bit more time than the average person in front of this PC camera by now, so maybe I'm a little bit more used to being photographed by now, specifically after teaching remotely last year. But it is important that you communicate your idea clearly and confidently. So, in order to really enable you to do this, start by writing a script of everything you want to say and read it out loud to yourself and see how long it takes you to deliver that script. And this will help you determine whether you're saying way too much or way too little. Because remember, you will only have 5 minutes maximum to tell us about your idea. Then decide on which visual aids, slides, photos, your prototype, or whatever you can use to show us either the problem or the solution. Decide which of those you want to use and then create them and get them ready before you start filming. And then make sure that you know what you want to say and that you've rehearsed your lines a few times before. So even though you have a script, don't read it, don't have a lot of notes with you, and that will just create some distractions and it will actually make you slower in delivering your pitch. If you're making slides, do not have a slide like the one you're looking at now. If you have a lot of text on the slide, then people just want to read and they won't be listening to you. So use more photos and less words. The reasons why I'm having these text-heavy slides is because I know many of you will actually be using them afterwards for some pointers, and you might not want to listen to all of my talking again. So in general, maybe just look at the example that I've included. You'll see that there's a lot of pictures and very few words. So please do not have something on this slide that you will be tempted to read, because otherwise your audience could also have just read whatever you have to say to them. Then ensure that you form in a quiet and neat environment. I know it seems obvious, but it's really distracting if you have a lot of movement in the background or noise in the background, and also if you're not filming in a neat space. So make sure that background is not actually distracting to whoever's watching your video. Make sure that the area is well lit so that you present in a nice way, that you feel confident about the way you look on screen. And then something really important is that you speak loudly and clearly. In a lot of the first round submissions that we've received, the speakers were barely audible. So we really struggled to hear what you were saying. And especially if you recording with a cell phone camera, make sure that you actually stand close to the camera. We don't need to see your entire body. Head and shoulders with a little bit of space around you is more than enough. But make sure that once you are done filming, that you can actually hear what you were saying. So also, if you're the one filming, one of your colleagues, actually steady your hand on a piece of furniture or against the wall so that you don't move around with the camera in your hand. and also distract attention from who's ever speaking by keeping the camera steady. And then once you have recorded your video, watch it and watch it from beginning to end before uploading it to make sure that everything is as you would have wanted it before you submit it, because otherwise it's always difficult to try to replace an entry afterwards, since you won't know whether we have submitted your entry to the judges yet. So make sure that you put your best foot forward. Then just two useful resources that I use frequently when creating video pitches is firstly Canva. It's the software that I'm using right now to project these slides as well. And then to record a video, if you're using Google Chrome, you can put the video and the slides in Canva directly. But if you're using Firefox like I do, then you can use Loom software available at loom.com to record your video. And what that will create is a little video of yourself in a circle somewhere in the corner of your screen. So on top of the slides, you'll be able to record the webcam video of your computer. So that's a solution that I've used quite often when a video pitch, and I don't project it live. Then, if you haven't done so already, please remember about the Engineering 2021 event from 9 to 13 August. Remember that on the 9th of August, we will be announcing our Modiragatsi winners for 2021. And our top 25 winners, top 25 finalists will be our guest of honor on that day. But regardless of whether you're a top 25 candidate, please remember to register. The goodie bags will also be worth it. I hope that the first of you have started receiving your either your tracking numbers via SMS or the goodie bags themselves. I know they were sent out by the courier this morning, so I think some of you who's close to Potch might have received it already. Otherwise, I'm confident that you'll start receiving it tomorrow morning, over the weekend, or even Monday. Don't worry if you haven't received anything by Monday or before Monday. It's perfectly normal for a courier to take a few days to deliver your parcels, but they were all sent yesterday. So that's what I have to say from my side. If there's any questions, I will gladly answer them. I see there's one question. I'm quickly going to read it and then I'll answer it. Let's ask whether it is possible to create your video presentation using Zoom if you're not able to meet while preparing your final submission. Yes, absolutely. I used Microsoft Teams to create a video yesterday. So just use the tools that are available to you. Whatever you prefer to use it. And yes, Zoom is also a very good tool to use for that, or a very suitable tool to use for that. I found it quite easy to record the video via MS Teams just because it didn't feel, I feel like I was speaking to myself. I knew there was someone on the other side, and just like I'm speaking to you now and presenting to you, I was making this video on another competition that I am the spokesperson of, using Teams as a tool to record. So yes, absolutely, whatever tool you need or you are familiar with, use that tool. So don't try and use new tools just because they are out there, and or because I tell you about them and think you will impress me by using it. Whatever you're familiar with, if you're not you do not have a computer and you just want to tell us your story using the guidelines provided with just you on the screen with no visual aids at all, please do that as well. So this is not a competition in terms of seeing who has the best available or the best access to technology to create a super creative video. The main idea is to see whether you can tell the story and whether you have actually reflected about your user and whether you could actually improve on your original idea and the way that you're presenting it by going through the training. And I think all of you have learned something this week. I don't think that any of you can say that you have learned absolutely nothing this week, even if it was just a new way of thinking about a specific problem, presenting your ideas to someone who is not familiar with that problem domain. I think all of you have learned something. So, see, there's another question. Let me quickly have a look. Okay, Tata asks whether both teammates need to speak in the final video because if one teammate is a little bit shy. No, absolutely. At least one person should speak because otherwise silent video and then you'll have to mime everything and that will be difficult to understand. But no, as long as at least one of you speaks, it's absolutely fine. Someone needs to hold the camera and we assume that your teammate will be supporting you and helping you with that. Hey, you're really quiet this evening and you're not really asking a lot of questions. So either the instructions are very clear, or you are just shy this evening. I don't think you'll be shy after you've been living in my living room for 9 days already, and you've been asking a lot of questions on the WhatsApp groups. So if you have a question, please ask it. Otherwise, this is your 5-minute warning that if we haven't seen any questions in the next 5 minutes, we will stop the live stream. Hey, Amelia, you're asking whether you should really present your idea from start to finish, including your typical user. As long as you at least cover these items that I told you should be in the pitch. So if you look on the screen, a problem, your solution, who your customers will be, and how you can reach them, what other solutions there are, and how yours is different from this, who your team is, what everyone in the team does, and a sensible conclusion, then that is more than enough for your video pitch. So the idea is not to just focus on the technology, a little bit around the technology as well, but in terms of who your customer is and how you reach them, and then also and then also your custom, your competitors, and how your solution is different. Okay, Tata asks whether it's too late to send your head and shoulder photos to your group admins. No, absolutely not. Please send them to the group admins. I think I've only received two. So please send your photographs to your group admins. It's not too late until Sunday. So even if you don't have one right now and you need to take one tomorrow, please take one tomorrow and just make sure that we have it by Sunday evening so that once we need to make some announcements next week about the winners, that we have the photographs ready. Okay, Pablo asks whether you need to wear your school uniform in the pitch. No, you don't. But I always found that it is nice to wear neat clothes. And when I was in school, I think my nicest clothes were my school uniform. So that's usually some clothes that all of us feel comfortable in. So you can wear your school uniform, but you're not obligated to wear it. So whatever you feel comfortable in, as long as it is neat and suitable for a presentation. Okay. Annalena asks, how do you complete the business model canvas if you're using a product of an already established company? Do you complete it for them or for you? You please complete it for you. This is the business idea that you will create with the product. So now I'm really curious to know what Annalena's idea is if she's someone else's product in a new way. So sounds really interesting. But please remember, you need to focus on your solution and how you will be using it to create new value. So from your own point of view, please. Okay, Tato, you're asking who our panel of experts are that will be judging. No, we haven't shared that with you yet. We will be making some announcements on social media after next week when we announce the top 25. We will also announce the names and a photograph of the judges. But it is representatives from our sponsor companies. So a representative from Kish IP, a representative from Siemens, a representative from Mendix, and a representative from the NWU Business School. And then one of the judges you already know, and that's me. So I am representing the Northwest University Faculty of Engineering, who is the host of this competition, and Mercita is our main sponsor. but I will be acting as the main judge, getting all of the other judges together, explaining the key outcomes to them, and then also getting all of the judges' comments together afterwards and using that to put together our final results. So, one of the judges, I hope that you think I'm a nice judge. I think I'm a nice judge. But yeah, the others I will introduce to you via social media and on your WhatsApp groups once we announce the finalists. That might also be a question. How will you know that you're a finalist? Well, firstly, we will be sending a letter to your school indicating, well, all of you, if we have your school's contact details, we will be hearing a letter with all of them on Monday morning, telling them that you participated and how well you participated in the competition. We would like them to give you recognition for the fact that you participated in this program during your winter break when you could be resting. You guys worked really hard, so we would love for them to give you recognition and to celebrate your success. Even regardless of whether you're winners or not, they should celebrate with you. So the list of finalists will be sent to the schools. It will also be broadcast on each of the WhatsApp groups. So please don't leave the WhatsApp group before you know whether or not you're a finalist. And then also we will be on our social media channel. Amelia asks, she hasn't received her goodie bag yet. Is there a problem? No, there's not a problem. They were only sent from Potch yesterday. So I mentioned this earlier in the stream. Don't start worrying about the delivery of your goodie bag before Monday. It can be perfectly normal to still receive it by Monday next week. But some of you might have received it already, but you should receive a SMS with your tracking number, and then you can start tracking it online as well. But yeah, don't worry if you haven't received it yet. Somewhere between tomorrow and Monday, it should definitely arrive. Okay, Abigail asked whether it's necessary for you to use pictures when pitching your idea. Definitely not. As I've said earlier in this video stream, you can use visual aids or you can use just yourself on screen pitching your idea, whatever you feel comfortable with. I always enjoy using slides with pictures on them just because it's sometimes easier for someone else to understand the picture than it is for me describing that picture or the picture I have in my mind. But it's definitely up to you. You can decide whether or not you need pictures or whether you maybe need that prototype that you've created. You can definitely use that as a prop. Some of you might want to create a whole video of prototype being used. I've seen photographs of at least one of the teams who actually built their solution already with some electronics. I've also seen some screenshots of another participant who already created an app. So there's definitely a lot of you with a lot of cool skills. So whatever you have available and whatever you feel comfortable to share your idea, use it to communicate as is most easy for you. Me too. Okay, so this is again your 5 minute warning. The last time I gave a 5 minute warning, the questions really started rolling in. So I'm giving you your 5 minute warning. If there's no questions, 5 to 6, we will stop this. we haven't received any questions further, so we will not have a live stream tomorrow morning as we originally planned. I already covered the live stream content that we planned for tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning you can start working immediately on your final entries, but we will have a live stream tomorrow afternoon to answer any questions you might have. So tomorrow afternoon we will have our last live stream session number 10, and then you will work on your own Saturday and Sunday if there's still something that you need to change. But if you really work hard, you can complete both your report and your video tomorrow. If you have any questions, ask them on WhatsApp throughout the day. Otherwise, and please remember to ask them on the group and not in a direct message, because then we can actually address the question for everyone that wants to have that answer. Otherwise, I have to send the same answer 23 or 32 times. So just ask it on the group and I will respond there. And then I will see you for a last live stream tomorrow evening. And have a good evening and stay warm.